The nation's capital has a few nicknames. The district, the swamp. But it's also the city of monuments, memorializing the fallen, commemorating conflict, and preserving past presidents in stone.
When you look at government architecture and people building monuments or associations or foundations or buildings that are literal foundations, what are they mostly for?
Well, they stand for people. They stand for places. They stand for significant moments in history.
Kriston Capps covers architecture for CityLab at Bloomberg. He took us to the site of a potential new addition to DC's landscape, the proposed Trump Triumphal Arch.
It's quite beautiful, as you can see, and this monumental arch will beam at 250 feet tall.
The edifice would sit at this grassy patch in the middle of a traffic circle at the end of Memorial Bridge.
This is where the arch will go.
And it's going to be how high?
250 feet tall.
How tall is that?
The Lincoln Memorial is about 100 feet tall, so it's going to be 2.5 times that.
So they want it to be taller than the Lincoln Memorial?
Much taller. Much taller than almost any structure in Washington.
The monument, colloquially called Arc de Trump, has already raised protests from veterans groups, who say it will destroy the line of sight across the bridge.
Memorial Circle is open for a reason. This is a site that stands between the Arlington House, which is Robert E. Lee's former home,
right,
and the Lincoln Memorial, which is, of course, the memorial, the monument to Abraham Lincoln. So it's a symbolic bridge. It represents the reunion of the country after the Civil War. And, you know, the detractors of the arch say that it would just stand between that symbolic unity.
You're supposed to be able to see from one down to the other.
You're supposed to be able to see from one down to the other. Now, the arch is going to be so big that the design renderings show that you could actually see Arlington House and the Lincoln Memorial from under it.
Okay.
But I don't know that that necessarily means it's not an occluded, blocked view.
When asked, the president seemed unconcerned.
That circle has sat there vacant for hundreds, like 150 years or something. The veterans are the ones that should like it. It's called the Triumphal Arch. It's in honor of the veterans.
And this isn't the only place the current president is leaving his mark, or his name. From the Kennedy Center.
When did this go up, Kriston?
This was a real surprise when this went up. It just kind of happened overnight. There was no act of Congress. There was no announcement.
And it's
It just
above.
appeared. It's above Kennedy's name on the Kennedy Memorial.
To the former U.S. Institute of Peace.
Did they stick on the letters?
They did, yes. This happened in December. It's now, I think, technically the Board of Peace, a slightly different organization.
From an aesthetic architecture perspective, why do people put their names on things? And is that something you typically see in a democratic society?
It's generally not the case that U.S. presidents go and just put their names on buildings that they like or want to have some association with.
Is there another president you can think of who has pushed through this many physical changes in Washington in recent memory?
No, it's really interesting. You know, if you look back, the changes have been so sudden. You have to really go back to the era of LBJ and Great Society.
There's also the demolition of the historic White House East Wing to make way for a ballroom, paving over the Rose Garden lawn into a patio, and gold embossed everything.
There's a lot of gold lettering happening at the White House these days.
Is that, what style is that? Is that neoclassical? Is that early Mar-a-Lago? Does it have a name?
I think Mar-a-Lago might be closer than neoclassical.
All right.
The White House says the ballroom will be paid for by private funds. The funding for some of the other projects, including the Arch, is still unclear. What's also unclear is how many of these alterations will be completed before the president leaves office or endure after he's gone.
We're getting kicked out.
They didn't put Trump on the security truck.
Oh, yeah. You want to get that? It's not on the truck. And props to our crew who managed to get this shot while who you don't see is the security guard almost immediately to his left there talking to us. We got one shot at that. We got about 30 seconds up there before they immediately shoop, and we're like, you got to go.